Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, October 24th business meeting for the Rochester City School District. Vice President LeBron, I'll be chairing this meeting today as President Elliott has an excused absence today. So at this time, I have asked two students from representing Hillside tonight to come up and do the Pledge of Allegiance. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to them. If you can come up to the mic, thank you.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Tanaya,
My name is Ariana.
and we're going to be doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, young ladies. The board expects district officials and the public to conduct themselves and speak in a respectful and courteous manner so as to model proper civility and decorum for students. Shouting, personal insults, vulgarity, profanity, attacks, revealing information prohibited by law, and any conduct that disrupts the flow of the business is considered to be out of order. The board may, among other steps available pursuant to law, take the following actions during the meeting to maintain a fair and efficient meeting: interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement exceeds allotted time, is personally directed, abrasive, obscene, or irrelevant, request any individual to leave the meeting when that individual, whether in person or virtually, does not observe reasonable decorum or the conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting, or call for a recess or any adjournment to another time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. And that is just a reminder, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our board clerk for the BOE upcoming events.
Good evening, Commissioners, Administration, families, community. For the month of November, the board will begin with the CIGR committee meeting on Tuesday, November 5th, convening at 6 p.m. The following week, on Tuesday, November 12th, we will host our ESA committee and special meeting for consideration of resolutions, and we'll close out the month with our business meeting on Thursday, November 21st at 6:30. As a reminder, all board meetings are held here at 131 West Broad Street in Conference Room 3A3B. And you may view the board's meeting calendar at rcsdk12.org/BOE calendar. Any individual may register to speak at any meeting by contacting the Board of Education office by noon on the day of the meeting, calling 585-262-8525, or emailing boardoфeducation@rcsdk12.org. No unregistered speakers may address the board, and no individual speaker may speak on behalf of a registered speaker. The following information must be included at time of registration: name, telephone number, home address, affiliation, and the topic on which the individual wishes to speak. Individuals who do not reside in the city of Rochester do not have the privilege of speaking at meetings except when an exception is granted by the chair of the meeting at which they are requesting to speak. Additionally, each registered speaker may address the board for up to 3 minutes, and any speaker utilizing translation may speak to the board for up to 6 minutes, including, 3 for the speaker comments and the remaining for translation. And as a final reminder, the board continues to recruit for board committee representatives. Both parents and students are welcome to apply, and you may find more information at rcsdk12.org/BOE rep. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, we have two speakers, and I just want to point out that I have a request for a point of personal privilege from Commissioner Simmons after the two speakers, and I'm going to grant that point of personal privilege. So up first is Ariana Watkins Nelson, a student also with Hillside Workshop Scholarship and one of our lovely young ladies who helped us do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ariana Watkins. I'm currently a senior at School Without Walls, and today I have prepared for you guys a small essay on my basically reflection of what Hillside has done for me. Academically, Hillside has helped influence my skill of being a diligent student at school. Opportunities that inspired me to want more for myself. I have achieved many awards that moved me as a student, and one that meant the most was when I was in a leadership program. Being around leaders showed me I was truly a leader, and it made me feel like I was belonging. Being in this program, I have learned scholar-like characteristics about myself, and I will always carry these as a reminder to look forward when times get hard. These characteristics will help me through life, careers, and situations, and this is something that I know that will shape my future. Hillside has provided job programs for me such as YETA. These programs help you become job ready and also provide employment opportunities. I have experienced college tours such as Morgan, Howard, Roberts, St. John Fisher. Due to my Hillside college tours and other influences, my aspirations are more abundant and open eye. My youth advocate, Leslie, plays a big role in my character in my school life. Leslie is truly an advocate and ensures my struggles and my goals are met with. Whether it's me being a great student, but me lacking in attendance, or me getting all my work done to the full extent and I just procrastinate. Leslie is always there to support me to become stronger as a student and also support my current abilities and achievements. I appreciate what Hillside has done for me wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you. And then up next is Tanaya Lester. Did I say that right? Okay. Also a student representing Hillside tonight, and the second young lady who gave the pledge.
Hi, my name is Tanaya, and I'm a senior at School Without Walls. And school, I'm sorry. Hillside is a program that has so many resources to help with your future, like help with jobs, resumes, college visits, and just so much more support that you can become even a better person. My youth advocate, Leslie, has helped me develop into a more organized successful student. She's helped me learn problem-solving skills and the importance of time management when dealing with work. She's developed me into a better student that is now on the road to graduation. Leslie has developed so much time and patience to every student under her. She's our team mom, and she's just another shoulder to lean on. I feel like the Hillside program gives us so many opportunities for colleges, and we went on many college tours such as St. John Fisher and MTC. They even provided a Hillside after-school program and even allowed us to do other events with other students from different schools, like girls groups or like something that was out of school. Hillside is a program for students to learn how to be better and try to become good enough to go out to the world after high school. And I really do appreciate Leslie for helping me going through since freshman year, and I hope other students could join it and love being there. Thank you.
Thank you. So typically, we don't speak or give comments back. However, granting special permission tonight, it's called point of personal privilege to Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. I just really want to briefly, I could not have what I would consider family in the space that I'm in right now and not just take a moment, and I appreciate being extended this opportunity to just acknowledge Hillside Work Scholarship Connection and the work that you do with our students. That is my training ground. That is where I started, first and foremost, as a youth advocate. So Leslie, if your kids are shouting you out like that, you're doing something right. And it is been such a privilege. The core of everything I do stems back to my experience with Hillside Work Scholarship and working with lovely students like these young ladies, and to see them doing their public speaking, practicing and being in situations where they are challenged to grow and expand their horizons is truly a blessing. So thank you for bringing them tonight, and I just wanted to acknowledge you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Up next, we're going to go into our advisory council reports, and up first is our Student Advisory Council of President Hazel Roberts.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. The Student Leadership Congress had our first official meeting for the 2024-2025 school year on September 9th. Since then, we've had 4 meetings, 2 in September and 2 in October. The September 9th meeting was for returning members to recap the previous year's accomplishments and to debrief about everyone's summer. The following September meeting on the 25th, students from Edison, Wilson, East, School Without Walls, School of the Arts, and Early College came to represent their schools. During this meeting, we did introductions and discussed what the Student Leadership Congress means to the district and our purpose. Due to the reconfiguration on all the changes within our district, the SLC as a governing body has a lot to do this year. As the president, I'm very excited to see where this year takes us. As all of you may know, the holiday season is approaching. The SLC will be getting prepared to do a literacy tour as a holiday project. What I mean by this is that we'll go around the district to various elementary schools to read to the littles. It's something we're excited about and allows us to make and build connections while also being role models for the littles. Don't worry, this is the first of many projects to come this year. To conclude, the Student Leadership Congress this year, under the leadership of 2 Black young ladies, is in for a monumentous year. And to the district student body, the SLC is here for you, and we value your voice. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
All right, thank you, Hazel. Up next is our Parent Leadership Advisory Council, and I have it here as virtually being read by Janice Kapoor. Oh, she's in person.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice. I have 2 scholars in the district. One is at 45, who was also impacted by the reconfiguration plan. I'm part of the leadership team for PLAC. PLAC would like to take this moment to thank all the family for advocating.
I'm sorry.
It's on.
Sorry, Ms. Kapoor, can you give us 1 second? Is her mic on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, sorry. My name is Janice. Again, I'm a member of the PLAC leadership team. PLAC would like to take this opportunity to thank all the family for advocating for the scholars as we navigate through the implementation plan of the reconfiguration design. We know that merging and closing schools have negatively impacted our scholars. We ask the district to provide social, emotional support and collaborate with community partners to provide support to struggling scholars in schools. We have a long way to go, but we know that parental involvement is essential to the outcome we want for our scholars. We also thank the board for reaching out to make sure that parents, scholars, and community members are part of the superintendent search. These are opportunities to receive inputs from the constituents of our CSD community. We hope that what is being echoed by the parents and community will be used by the board in the decision to make progress to select superintendent that is committed to this district. The district will benefit from having a superintendent who is familiar and empathetic to the community and has a desire to stay long-term. Parents are exhausted with the revolving doors of superintendents for the past decades. PLAC has also been meeting once a month with OPE to collaborate on ways to improve communication and support parent groups in every school across the district. We looked at past events and reviewed strategies to improve them. It also allowed parents to highlight barriers preventing parents' groups from being effective in schools. While there is great work to be done, we would like to thank OPE for the continued effort in assisting parent groups with events. These events are well attended by scholars and their family across the district. PLAC first general meeting is virtual this year. We're going to Teams instead of Zoom. Meeting will be held November 11 via Teams. We would like to invite the board members as well as every single RCSD family to attend our virtual meetings. For more information on the meeting link, please visit PLAC, P-L-A-C-K, at rcsdk12.org, and you can sign up from there to be able to access the virtual link. Thank you.
Thank you. My apologies for mispronouncing your first name the first time. Up next is the Bilingual Education Council, and I have Pablo Sierra. Did I say that correctly? I just want to make sure. I'm trying to get names tonight.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Vice President LeBron and members of the board. I'm here to report on the latest BEC meeting. I'll do it briefly in English, and then I'll switch to Spanish, and I'll try and be concise. At this first meeting, the BEC officials, Divet Garcia, Melissa Meehan, and myself led a series of activities that had to do with navigating bilingual programs and how they're being affected by the restructuring of the district. One of the things that came up in the conversations that we had with parents is that there's a real concern about the pathway, a pathway to a full bilingual education. Specifically, parents are very worried about how bilingual children are transitioning from bilingual elementary schools to middle schools. We're not seeing a pathway or a pipeline. We see that there's gaps, and we're concerned about that. There are currently no bilingual school options at secondary levels for children in the South Zone. So that's a concern that we're going to be working on. Another one of these concerns that our parents brought up was a lack of bilingual teachers, even in schools that have been designated as bilingual. So there's a shortage, and I know that there's an attempt to accelerate this hiring, but it's not quite happening at the pace that we need it to happen. During the second half of the meeting, we had the privilege of learning from Mr. Daniel Betancourt from the School Safety Office, and he explained to us the new procedures that are in place. We do have parents expressing ongoing concerns about unresolved conflicts from the prior academic year and a lack of response from certain high schools. So you may be hearing directly from those families that want some of these issues to be resolved. Finally, we also want to extend an invitation to the board to our next meeting, which is Wednesday, November 13th at 5 p.m. We're trying to do this at schools now, as opposed to at the rec centers, because we think that will draw in more families, and we will happily share more information with you about that. Okay, so very briefly, en español, tuvimos la Junta del Concilio Bilingüe el miércoles 16 de octubre. Hicimos una actividad, los líderes padres, Pablo Sierra, Divet García, Melissa Meehan, y queremos expresar que estamos preocupados porque no vemos un camino hacia una educación bilingüe completa. Hay un vacío, parece, entre la primaria, la secundaria y la preparatoria. Entonces, nuestros padres están trabajando en mejorar esas oportunidades, sobre todo en la zona sur, donde no hay opciones para una educación secundaria bilingüe. Y finalmente también tuvimos una presentación con el señor Daniel Betancourt y vamos a estar presentando algunas quejas de los padres que no se han resuelto del año pasado. Finalmente, invitamos a los miembros del board a nuestra siguiente junta el miércoles 13 de noviembre a las 5 de la tarde. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And up next is the Special Education Parent Advisory Council, joined, I believe, virtually. Yes, thank you, Catherine Baruth.
Good evening, President Elliott, Commissioners, Acting Superintendent Strickland, and other distinguished guests. My name is Catherine Baroth, and I have one scholar in the RCSD. He's my why for being involved in CPAC. He's a junior at School 58. I also have one RCSD graduate. The Special Education Parent Advisory Council, or CPAC, held their monthly meeting on Monday, October 21st via Teams. We had approximately 32 people in attendance. We did not have a formal topic of discussion on our agenda this month. Rather, we had an open discussion on difficulties parents were experiencing at the start of the school year. Primary themes centered around lack of communication from building administrators and from teachers, especially for those families who have children at the secondary level. This is an issue the district needs to continue to improve upon. Parents will have a greater degree of trust when the communication is better. One parent attending had experience with multiple districts in multiple states and stated that RCSD stands out in their poor communication based on her previous experiences. We simply must do better. Other issues brought to the table were the chaotic transitions to new buildings, whether due to grade promotion or reconfiguration or significant changes in busing that were never communicated to families. We continue to work closely with the special education department to help address issues that parents are experiencing, and we appreciate their partnership. We also continue to meet with OPE and other parent group leaders monthly to problem solve in our event planning and parent engagement efforts. Finally, we would like to openly ask parents who want a more active role in district-wide parent groups, and CPAC in particular, to please reach out to us. CPAC is primarily run by 2 parents, and our children are aging out and graduating soon. If you are interested, please come to our next CPAC meeting on November 18th at 6 p.m. on Microsoft Teams. If you are not on our mailing list, please email rcsdsepac@gmail.com and we will add you. Thank you. For any questions, please reach out to CPAC at rcsdsepac@gmail.com.
Thank you. At this time, I'm actually going to turn the mic over to Commissioner Santiago to acknowledge some members in the audience. So Commissioner Santiago.
Yeah, I just wanted to very quickly give a shout out to all of our St. John Fisher students who are here in the audience today, that's here on the civic engagement class. It's great to see you guys out here taking time to learn. I'll see you guys in your class sometime in a couple weeks. So thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. And at this time, we're going to be going into the only executive session we have tonight. So can I get a motion to go into executive matters to discuss matters leading to the appointment, promotion, discipline, suspension,
Motion.
dismissal, or removal? Motion by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Malloy, because that's who I heard first. And this is in reference to resolution number 2024-25-260B, which we have tabled twice. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're going to go into executive session. We'll be right back. Sorry about that. We had an executive session, but it is the last one for tonight. Up next, we're going to go into board reports. There are two, let me see here, two committees that have board reports, and so I'm going to turn it over at this time to the ESA Committee Chair, Commissioner Simmons.
My apologies. I just stuck some candy in my mouth, but I'm going to try to get through this intelligibly. Okay, so the Equity and Student Achievement Committee met as a committee of the whole on Tuesday, October 28th. During this meeting, the committee accepted minutes from the September 10th, 2024 ESA committee meeting. Director Alicia Thomas presented on summer school outcomes based on the 2024 summer learning initiatives. Interim Superintendent Demario Strickland presented to the 23 through 24 grade 3 through 8 New York State ELA and math assessments results and the next steps. School chiefs Morian and Torres Santana presented receivership and MTSS updates, including alignment with the district's strategic plan and action steps to foster student success. Executive Director Haynes presented MTSS updates, including alignment with the State Monitor academic plan and next steps, or an action plan, if you will. Additionally, reports in accordance with Policy 4311.2, Civics Education, and Policy 4325, Instruction of Multilingual Learners and English Language Learners were provided and is available via board docs. Our next ESA committee meeting will take place on Tuesday, November 12th at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. The next report is my report, the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee met as Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, October 15th, and during the meeting, the committee addressed the following items. The committee accepted minutes from the August 20th Finance Committee meeting. Commissioners received the draft of the November resolutions for review. Executive Director of Grants, PCOR, presented the annual grant summary and forecast per policy 6256, reporting of grant reports. The board received an overview of the 2025 budget calendar and next steps. Board discussions on this topic is slated to continue later in the agenda. And very late, I'll give an update during tonight's meeting, and the board discussed the 2025-26 budget book, which discussion is also slated to continue during a little bit to tonight's meeting and additional meetings to follow. The board also discussed school bus cameras on stop signs on the school buses. Based on this discussion, resolution number 2024-25-317 is slated for board vote tonight. Policy 5153, the parent preference and managed choice policy, underwent a second reading and is slated for the board to vote to be amended during tonight's meeting. And the first quarter Medicaid compliance report was provided and is available via board docs. And at this time, I invite our acting chief financial officer, Derek Blair, to present the unaudited October 24 financial report. And when our acting CFO is done, I will ask for a motion from the board. Derek, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'll try to make this brief. Attached are the unaudited financial reports for periods ending September 30th. Section A lists our cash flow and general ledger summary. Our cash flow position is very strong with a 9/30 ending balance of $336 million. Section B is our revenue summary. There are no changes to general fund or food service revenue projections. There was an increase of $3 million to special aid, and the adjustments are included. Section C shows our budget appropriations. Right now, general fund has $486 million, or 53% of their general fund budget remaining. Special aid has $89 million, or 68% of the special aid grants funds remaining. And food service has 16 million or 61% of the budget remaining. I'm going to skip over SRSA and special aid since those are basically done. The budget journal entries are there for your viewment. Section F shows our capital project budget status. There's not much to report. Only major activity is down at the bottom of that of $87,000 transfer for some HVAC repairs. Section H is our charter school enrollment. We have, we're up about 277 students compared from last year right now with charter schools. And Section I is just an overview of our actual Oracle project. Finance has completed PP3B with only 15 rejects. And that's all I have. Is there any questions?
Do you have any questions from any commissioners? No questions at this time. Thank you, Blair. And I just want to point out for adding the percentages in certain areas. It's a small touch, but just thank you for saying 61% of the general funds or, yeah, just thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a numbers person, I like that stuff. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
At this time, can I get a motion to move the unaudited reports for a vote tonight? So we're going to motion to approve the district's unaudited October 2024 financial report and change order quarterly reports. Motioned by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you. Up next, we have the superintendent's report, and we have two superintendents presenting tonight. I'm going to turn it over to our interim superintendent Strickland, followed by the East EPO Superintendent Blocker.
Great evening, Vice President LeBron, fellow commissioners, and all of the staff and students that are watching in our community, and also our visitors that are in the audience. I am Demario Strickland, here to present to you my report for the month of October. I wanted to start off by thanking these wonderful groups of individuals. They are our principals. October is National Principals Month, and it's a great time to recognize the incredible work our principals do every day. They are the ones who shape our students' futures, support our teachers, and create positive learning environments. Their impact goes far beyond the classroom, and we truly appreciate all the hard work they put in. I really wanted to start off with that slide because these are the individuals that make this district run, and they need to be acknowledged. They are a part of Priority 1 as well, because these are the individuals that myself and our staff need to carry out those board goals, and they are going to do it. Thank you. Oh, you can clap. Sorry. Yes, clap for the principals. Thank you. Next, I'm going to talk about some of our other priorities. One is around chronic absenteeism, and quickly to read, it is defined as a student missing 10% of the school days within one academic year for any reason. This includes excused absences, unexcused absences, and suspensions. So one of the requests that I've heard over and over again is really to illuminate what chronic absenteeism is, even though we do know that there's various factors that are causing families and students to have to miss school. Regardless, we still want to be very transparent as to what that actually entails. So right now, our district-wide for chronic absenteeism is at 50.1%, and that's as of September 2024. We have two types of comparisons. We have the lowest rates, which happen to be School of the Arts at 25.1%, school number 46 at 26.5%, and school number 15 at 27.6%. The highest rates of chronic absenteeism would be Padilla High School at 78.5%, Edison Career and Technology High School at 62.8%, and Monroe High School at 62.7%. Now, just an FYI, to be chronically absent already, that means that these students, or these percentages of students in these schools have missed 3 days of school in the month of September. So again, these students have missed at least 3 days of school in the month of September, and therefore they are chronically absent already. And lastly, pre-K is not included in our chronic absenteeism calculations. Next, we also are monitoring as a cabinet our out-of-school suspensions for September 2024. We're at 0.7% district-wide. I am proud to announce in the month of September, there were no suspensions at 21 of the schools. I am actually going to read those numbers. School number 4, 5, 7, 8, 15, 16, 17, 19, 22, 23, 28, 34, 35, 42, 45, 46, 50, 52, 53, 54, and East Upper. That's actually commendable, and I'm very proud of the hard work that those principals and staff at those schools are doing to try to keep their kids in school at all costs. We do have some schools with higher rates. Padilla High School has 8.7% out-of-school suspensions, Northwest Junior High 7.9%, and Loretta Johnson Middle School at 5.7%. And that means that, for instance, Loretta Johnson, 5.7% of their student population has been suspended. It's still a small amount, however, it just rose to one of the higher levels for this month's report. We also wanted to take the time to acknowledge out-of-school suspensions and the schools with the largest reductions. We have Rochester Early College reduced from last September 2023 to this September 2024 is down 2.4%. School number 19 is down 1.8%, and East Lower School is down 1.6%. So congrats to those schools and those teachers and leaders. Priority number 3 is around recruit, grow, and retain our staff. Just wanted to give a quick update on our vacancies. So we have the chart for operations on the one side, which is the left, and the instructional side, which is the right. And you could see the numbers in front of you. We want to illuminate this at the board business meeting, as this is the time that many of our individuals from the community are viewing. So if you are interested in positions, www.rcsdk12.org/careers. Continuing on with priority number 3, we have recruitment events, and after these recruitment events, you can go to that website that I just mentioned. The first one, Wednesday, October 30th at 11 a.m. through 12:30. We're going to be at Action for a Better Community on 400 West Avenue. Wednesday, November 6th at 11 a.m. through 1 p.m. We'll be at Ibero at 216 Clifford Avenue. And then one of our next events will be Wednesday, November 13th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the MCC Brighton campus. And as promised in Executive Director Pecor's presentation, I am delivering the just final information on the ARP spending. And just for the viewing public, ARP is the American Rescue Plan funds that came to us as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. So the district received over $284 million in federal relief funds through the CARES Act, Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriates Act, or CRSA, and the American Rescue Plan, or ARP, to address the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on student learning, social emotional well-being, and district operations. The district has fully expended all ARP funds. We started with close to $197 million in January of 2022, and as of September 30th, 2024, all ARP funds were spent. This has allowed the district to build its cash reserves substantially, enhancing the district's financial health and ensuring greater long-term sustainability to navigate the future fiscal landscape. The final funding stream remaining, ARP, officially ended on September 30th, 2024, and the district will be submitting its final ARP financial report to New York State Education Department next week. In our planning for the use of ARP funds, we prioritize 7 key areas essential for enhancing student success and district operations. They were, 2 of them, were rigorous academics and instruction and unfinished learning. Nearly 40% of the funds were allocated to those 2 areas with a focus on learning loss and targeted after-school and summer programs, as well as academic support initiatives. Additionally, 24% of our ARP funds were dedicated to improving district-wide infrastructure, including our Oracle project and technology upgrades for students as a result of remote learning. The other areas were social-emotional learning and supports, leadership and instructional capacity, community collaboration, and student health and safety. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I want to recognize the schools throughout our district where students and staff stood in solidarity with breast cancer patients and their families. For those who participated in the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk earlier this month, funds raised provide valuable resources and services to breast cancer patients, caregivers, and family members. In October, we also want to take a moment to recognize the incredible contributions of our educators and support staff who shape our students' futures. From the dedication of teachers and principals to the tireless efforts of custodians, lunch staff, and bus drivers, each individual plays a vital role in creating positive and nurturing learning environments. Our educators are touching lives in ways that last a lifetime. I am grateful and truly appreciative of all the hard work that they put in. And as you could see, October had Happy Teachers Day, School Bus Drivers Day, School Food Service Workers Day, and Custodians Day as well.
Thank you to the staff.
Thank you to the staff. Yes. Yes. As we celebrate School Board Recognition Week, I want to acknowledge and thank our Board of Education and the 7 strong, passionate leaders who serve our district. I am truly thankful to each and every one of you for your commitment to improving our schools and the lives of students. You invest countless hours in your roles, often overlooking the fact that this is not a full-time job. Your service goes beyond mere duty. You have a love for students, this community, and a desire to ensure all students have equitable access to a high-quality education. So thank you all, Board Commissioners. Yes. And that concludes my presentation for the month of October 2024.
All right, thank you. Dr. Blacker from East, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to apologize. I did not open the floor for commissioners to ask questions of Dr. Strickland. I was going to allow both superintendents to present and then take questions, but if you prefer to ask those now, I'm fine with that too. Commissioner Santiago and then Commissioner Patterson.
Yeah, I just want to very, very quickly just talk about chronic absenteeism. It's on slide 4. And I know that this is an issue in the district that has a lot of different root causes to it, you know, between, safety, between homelessness, between housing insecurity, food insecurity. In this district, it's different, for a district like this district when we have such of a high poverty rate in our city. And not saying that, it's an excuse, but it's truly an issue. And so I just wanted to very quickly talk about it, but at the same time, we have to ensure that we are educating our students because the way out of that housing insecurity and the way out of the poverty is through education. And so I wanted to very quickly ask, and also point out that we see, one of the lowest rates in absenteeism in our district is School of the Arts. And I think that one of the reasons that may be, and I graduated from School of the Arts 2 years ago, is because of the culture in that school. And the passion that the students have to go and accomplish their dreams and their talents and what they're passionate about. And if there was a way for us to really make this happen in every school in our district, I think that we will have a chance to really bring and encourage our students to come into the schools, with the culture, with good school culture, with excitement that this is a school that I go to. And that's through programs, that's through extracurricular opportunities. And before I ask my question about absenteeism, I also want to give a shout out to the district about the suspensions. I know when I went to school, when I was in middle school, even the beginning of high school, suspensions were being shout out like they were, like Oprah was giving away cars. Everybody was getting suspended. I was one of those students. And the truth is proven through research that suspensions aren't effective towards the academics and the success of our students. And so I want to give you guys a shout out for that. I was an advocate for a bill called Solutions Not Suspensions, and it was on the floor of the Senate and the Assembly here in New York State. But I just want to also make sure that although the number of suspensions are down, that we are giving real solutions to the problems that may have triggered the suspensions in the first place. And so, my hopes is that solutions are happening, that we are working with these young people restoratively. We're working with them to get them back on track with their education. And so I guess my question is, what are your plans when it comes to the chronic absenteeism? If you have any at the moment, I know that you may have to go, really create a detailed plan in the long run, but I was wondering if you had anything currently.
No, I appreciate your question, Commissioner Santiago. I want to first thank you for acknowledging the fact that, there are many things that are actually beyond students for why they may not come to school. Some of it is because they are unhoused. Some of it is because their parent wasn't able to get them on the bus. There's various factors that really impact urban environments. I get on calls with other superintendents from big 5 cities, New York City, Buffalo, Syracuse, Yonkers, Mount Vernon. They are all battling the same circumstances. It's something that really just targets urban environments, and it really hits with our Black and brown students. Regardless, we have homeschool assistants, parent liaisons. We have teachers that are being the first line of defense, calling families when they don't notice that when a student hasn't been there for a few days. You have principals making home visits. You have individuals in central office supporting in our parent engagement office. We are doing everything possible to make sure that students get to school each and every single day. And I do think that this is something that myself and other superintendents around the state are talking about. How do we make this more fair and equitable for large districts like ours? Because it's just really a daunting task, and we don't want it to seem as if we are not doing anything and everything possible to make sure students come to school each and every single day.
Yeah, and a quick follow-up, and this also might be a question for our state monitor, but I know that sometimes, the issues for our students are wide sometimes. And so I'm wondering, when it comes to high school, what is the state looking at when it comes to creating the online schools and making that acceptable towards their attendance?
There's a committee that proposed a plan, and the Board of Regents is working on that.
Okay.
And virtual education is one of those components.
Okay, yeah, because I think virtual education will also be very helpful when it comes to the absenteeism that we're dealing with. And so I look forward to hearing more about that on a state level. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I just want to ask the state monitor, as a follow-up to that, if the state would also consider having excused absences. Because oftentimes, it's for those listening, it's 10 absences for a student to then be catapulted into the chronically absent. And a student, for example, and this is a lived experience when my kid had mono, she had more than 10 days that she was back and forth because she was misdiagnosed as having strep, and it was not strep. So I just always use that as an example because she got categorized as chronically absent, even though there was medical documentation, hospitalization, and proof of that. And I think that's the frustrating part for myself, both as a board member who then has to hear how our district has chronically absent students. I'm like, we don't allow, because the state doesn't allow excuse absences. And so can you speak to that piece?
It is part of the recommendations for the regions, is 18 absences, 10%. There's 180 days a year, and it doesn't matter whether you're legally or illegally absences. If you miss 18 days, you have chronic attendance.
Yeah, and so I just want the listening audience and the public to understand that if you have a child who's medically ill, for whatever reason, or as Commissioner Santiago mentioned, experiencing homelessness and other factors that prevent that child from having stability and getting to school, the school district and that school is then logged in as being chronically, having these large numbers of chronically absent because the state does not recognize, as our state monitor pointed out, excused versus unexcused.
But what is also important is that there are some other opportunities like homeschools and all that. So if the student has an illness, to get in contact with the district to get that support.
Thank you, because that's an excellent point. Commissioner Simmons, and then, I'm sorry, I'll go to Commissioner Patterson, but after Commissioner Simmons, since it's to the same topic at hand.
It is actually the same topic at hand as far as, do you think there's an opportunity for the state maybe to recategorize how the absenteeism is logged? So for example, there's excused absences, there are chronic absenteeism issues, and noting some form of I don't know what it would be, but something that logs it if it is based on an extenuating circumstance. I can understand the need to note something as chronically absent because it impacts learning. Because even if it is, medical or what have you, that child, unless we find a way to make sure they get the learning in front of them, they're not learning. But is there a way to categorize it as chronic absent, but there's a caveat that says, this person was in the hospital? Like, how do we do that?
I will communicate with the state education department, and the best, I will get the message to the state education department and also to the regions. That's the best way to get the message to the commissioner and to the board of regents.
Thank you. Commissioner Patterson?
I know there's, multiple reasons why, our kids are chronically absent, and I'm familiar with those, and some of my colleagues this afternoon, or correction, this evening, mentioned, some of those, but I think, we're failing to mention the elephant in the room, and that's that our children aren't able to read on grade level. I know this firsthand because I do visit the Monroe County Children's Detention Center, and I speak to both men and women, young men and women out there, and ask them why they either dropped out of school or don't attend school. And I bet you 90% of them in there, tell me that they can't read, they're embarrassed, on grade level. So therefore, they aren't passing their test and aren't able to pass those tests. And so we must, find a way to have our children reading on grade level. Number two, this is the second time I've asked now, and being respectful when I ask this, but all these percentages, if I'm not understanding these percentages and I have to go to a calculator, I can only imagine the general public, can't read some of these or really get the true meaning behind these statistics. So once again, for the second time, I'm asking if you could go back to a bar graph form and the numbers, even if you do put the percentages in a column, at least break it down by number. So we're only talking about the month of September. It should be very easy to also put the number of kids, that are chronically absent. And, if it's going to stay in this format, then, I'm going to ask that I be able to sit with someone rather than I go out there and do the math myself and they break that down for me as far as numbers. I think it's very important that we as a community, we know the numbers And obviously, we can look at 78.5% and know that's pretty high, but as is 62%. But when you start talking about 25, 26, 27, how many students is that? I'd want to know. So just so we're more transparent, I'd say, and respectfully being said to you, interim superintendent, that if you could go back to that bar graph that's more easily to read, for us, and add those columns, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Griffin?
Hello. Yeah, I wanted to just piggyback off of two things that were said and mentioned this evening. One, in reference to the homeless, I think that we need to clarify someone actually being homeless. They can be homeless and not have a shelter, or be homeless and actually living in someone else's home. So those are two different types of homelessness. I mean, we have people that literally don't have shelter, don't have ironing boards, don't have these things, and don't have that. And I think we're when we mention the word homeless, we have people that sometimes just don't have shelter, and then some people that live with their families. Also, I wanted to clarify something about when we were talking in reference to not clarify, but just state something in reference to reading and literacy. I'm yet to hear, since I've been here and been sworn in January 2nd, where we are at with the literacy program and being instrumental in producing things that are going to help our children be successful in literacy. Is there something in the works? Because if it is, I'm not sure that I've heard of it. So can you speak to that? Because that is an issue and concern that is not empowering our children if they don't have it. So is there something in the works about the reading levels and what we're doing now for them? Because we haven't talked about it. We talk about it, but we don't do anything about it. We haven't done anything about it.
So we do talk about literacy plans in the ESA meetings. Those aren't generally illuminated here. But again, you as a board are really getting these higher level overviews to allow myself and the staff to focus on that actual work of making sure we implement the plans like the way they should be. I definitely understand what Commissioner Patterson was saying around some students choose not to come to school because they become disengaged because they cannot read. But for the sakes of this presentation, that's not, I illuminate that, but that's not mentioned here. However, in future ESA meetings, that definitely will be a topic on the agenda, just to not confuse, the different things that we're talking about.
Okay, and my last statement was, I just want to know what the restorative project that we have over at Cold Star Street, can we bring some of that information into, as though some of the people that are homeless or the problems with the suspension, are they coming to Cold Star? Do we have any updated data on that? Yeah. And do we have transportation for them to get there to Cold Star? And are they being picked up? Because that area is kind of suspect. Can you give us some information on that, please?
Sure,
that was done during our presentation.
I'm sorry, before you answer that to the public and the listening audience, this question is not related to the presentation, so I am going to ask all commissioners. I will allow the administration to answer, but as we move the meeting forward and we go over into Marlene Blacker's presentation, that you stick to the slides and the questions that are to the presentation tonight. Dr. Turner?
Yes, so we presented during ESA meeting the data for the work that's being done, our restorative hub. Yes, individuals can get a bus pass to get there. If they're unable to get there, there's also a way to participate virtually. So none of the folks that have been coming for the mediations have had any issue of getting to their appointments. And if there is, as I said, there's an option to do the mediation virtually, and we've been able to do that with some of the folks.
Can you bring that to the next meeting so we have that data, or send it to us? So we
No,
can just
I can't. Because
No,
it was,
what you can do.
it was included in the
Yeah, what you can do
included
is.
in what?
No, just, excuse me.
last month.
Right.
Okay, I just want to break down then so we know how many kids are actually getting help. I really would like to know that. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Strickland?
Yes, so just really quick to remind us of the board cadences, that request should go to President Elliott, where we get into, she's going to start soliciting information that you would like to be included on the board agendas, and then I would make your plea to her when she reaches out.
Okay.
And then we will.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Commissioner Simmons, and then it'll be Commissioner Malloy. Commissioner Simmons, because she's been waiting.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. I do want to lift the work that has been happening.
Thank you.
And I want to commend you. And I've had the honor of serving over the ESA, chairing the ESA Equity and Student Achievement Committee of the Whole for a few years now that I've been on this board. And anyone who's been following my leadership or me as a commissioner knows that my heart falls with literacy. And so it concerns me, of course, that our children are not reading on grade level, and that we have a long, long, long way to go, and that this is historic, stemming back to almost 40 years and prior. And so it's not something that we can snap our fingers and see a difference in 2 years, 3, or even 4. But that is not to lend excuse to the reality that we need to continue the work we're doing. But over my time here, I've acknowledged, and I'm glad we are viewing this, so people can actually hear the curriculum change, the education that has been provided to our teachers so that they can teach the literacy piece, that we have changed from the antiquated, what was that, sight reading and all of the words that you shouldn't use, but moving towards the phonics and the proper science of reading. And I don't mean that in the coin, but the actual technical skills, phonics, phonemic awareness, and all of those things are happening in this district, and they've been happening aggressively over the past couple of years now. And so we are at the state of implementation, and that is why it's one of our board goals, and we are now also measuring for those outcomes. So I just wanted to say that, and I didn't even say everything I wanted to say because I'd be here for a while. But there's a lot of work, and I haven't even captured it all, that has been happening around literacy in this district, and I have been honored to be a part of it. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
We still got a long way to go. I don't want anyone twisting my words and saying that I said that
course,
we're not okay. I get that, but we've been working on that.
The district was not broken in a day, and it surely will not be repaired in one day. So it is a process, and it takes time. We are putting urgency on it because we can't wait, but it still takes time.
Thank you. Commissioner Malloy?
Thank you. I'll be very brief, I promise. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your presentation tonight, Superintendent. And I found especially helpful just the out-of-school suspension rate. Since my tenure started about 5 years ago on the board, I've really seen a decline in those number of suspensions overall. So I just wanted to say brief kudos to staff and also to the committee that worked so hard to redefine our code of conduct. So thank you for your work, and I'm looking forward to getting more feedback on this information moving forward. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I am going to turn it over officially to Marlene Blacker, our Superintendent for East.
Good evening, Vice President LeBron, Commissioners, and the Rochester community. My first slide on the presentation says, Happy Board of Education Week to each of you. Thank you for the time and effort you put in to support RCSD scholars and families, and thank you for the many late nights that you give up time with your own family to be here. It is appreciated. Next, the Delta Sigma Theta sorority sponsored a voter education and registration event at East as part of the National Voter Education Week. They explained the importance of the right to vote to our scholars and then assisted them in getting signed up. East scholars had an amazing opportunity to attend the premier neuroscience conference in Chicago in October. They were able to see firsthand the discovery of new ideas, listen to the latest cutting-edge research, and explore the best that neuroscience currently has to offer. Each of these scholars that were able to attend this conference were also part of the summer neuroscience program at the U of R. The East community celebrated all of its fall athletes by hosting a Spirit Week and a pep rally. Each day, a different theme took place: silly shoes, Twin Day, Anything But a Cup Day, Superhero Day, and Eagle Pride Day. East went on to win their football game that evening. It was a fun week of events to celebrate all of our scholar athletes. East beat Monroe in the first ever Battle of the City Tree Bowl. Changing the City had 31 players represented in this game, and when you think about the number 31 coming from two teams, it's astronomical, that have provided both athletic training and mentorship to the youth in our community. It was an epic win, and both teams played hard. The emotional commitment was marvelous to see by all participants. Player of the game was Jeremiah Tucker from East. The offensive player of the game was Messiah Hampton from Monroe, and the defensive player of the game was Anthony Hampton from East. Youssef Abdi's kicks were exceptional. East scholars that are sophomores in our teaching and learning program had the opportunity to go to St. John Fisher University. They met with staff and scholars in the School of Education and participated in special seminars. On Friday, October 11th, our 7th graders attended the Rochester Education Future Fair at St. John Fisher University. In small groups, they were able to connect with over 50 professionals and learn about their career paths, what they do in their current positions, and advice they were willing to give for getting into that profession. Students learned about many careers that they may not have been aware of and expanded their ideas of what their future could hold. East math teacher Julie Nicholas received the News 8 Golden Apple Award. Miss Nicholas is known for going above and beyond for her scholars, always willing to meet them where they are at and find a way to help them succeed. Our East 8th graders from our NISA program went to Stokey Farms. They utilized problem-solving skills to navigate through a corn maze. They learned about animal safety and hygiene practices for feeding animals, and they also got in some fun with a hayride, a bounce pillow, and touring around the farm. This next slide is perhaps one of my most favorite slides from the 2 years that I have been superintendent. Each year, each month, I ask teachers to share pictures and write down bullets of what events were happening in the room. And as I was looking through the pictures this time, I noticed that this young man came up 4 times in 4 different ways. So I just feel like Makai Evans is the essence of an East scholar, and I wanted to put that in pictures. In the first picture, Makai is seen sitting during lunchtime reading a book. His commitment to enjoying a good book was observed by many. Makai is seen sitting in the cockpit of the first airplane he has gone on as he got ready to attend the neuroscience conference in Chicago. And the next picture, he is working with a U of R medical student in the medical pathway where he says, for once in his life, he had a paradigm shift and he really started to value school and turned his life around. And then in the last picture, you see him as a member of our football team. Makai has an incredibly powerful example that he sets for so many of our other scholars, and especially our younger scholars that are walking around the building each day. And I just wanted to share the ironicness that he would come up 4 times. Dr. Strickland had the opportunity recently when he came over to East and we visited classrooms. He ran into Mackay in one of the classrooms, and when we left the classroom, Dr. Strickland's words were, "That's what this is all about." Just a beautiful, passionate young man for school. So thank you for letting me share that. Next is, as I said, I will give you an update as close to the date as possible of the board meeting. So this update is as of 10/21, and the ones in yellow are the only ones that have changed. So our lower school out of suspensions, we now have 2 students. As of October 21st, we have 1 upper school suspension. Our lower school chronic absenteeism rate is 34.9. Our upper school chronic absenteeism rate is 40.5. Our lower school daily attendance is up to 87.4%, and our upper school attendance is 83.3%. And on the next slide, for the goal 1D, freshman academy scholars trying to earn 5 credits with a goal of 78%. I wanted to share, which is quite discouraging, where grades are for students at the 5-week mark. I've tried to include for you both the number of students that are failing and the percentage of that cohort that it equates to. So as you can see, 27% were failing math and English, science, 60%, social studies, 21%, and then I broke it down a little further so you could see how many were failing 1 class or 2 or 5, how many were failing 0, and then the absenteeism and the perfect attendance rate. What I wanted to address from this, though, is to make it clear what are some of the systems we're doing to address this so we can reach that goal of 78% by the end of the year or higher. We currently have cohort trackers that are in place for every cohort. We do a marking period grade tracker every week. We have an absence tracker and an intervention tracker. Our counselor, administrator, and social worker meet as a team each week to go over identified students that are concerns either with behavior or academic needs. We have an interdisciplinary common planning time for our freshman academy where all teachers from all subjects come together once a week. And then we have a science lab minute tracker because as we have found out, many of our scholars are not prepared with the lab minutes required to take the Regents exam. And as far as the personal learning supports that we have in place, we have the family group where we meet with kids daily for 30 minutes. We have the support period where they go and get additional support from multiple areas. We have collaborative planning time daily where the teachers work with one another to identify strengths and weaknesses and what changes they need to make in lessons. We have individual meetings with scholars. We feature two freshmen each week for the positive, and we also send out positive postcards. So although you see these numbers and we know they're not great, I want you to know we are doing things and have things in place that we hope will turn things around as freshmen is the critical year. And then last, that concludes the East EPO October presentation. If you have any questions, I would be happy to speak.
Thank you, Merlene. And I'm going to turn it right on over to Commissioner Malloy because she has the first question for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Superintendent, for your presentation. And I just wanted to uplift you addressing the 4th of the board goals, so specifically in your presentation. As the public may or may not know, the board adopted 4 academic goals for our students, and I won't go through the first 3, but they have to do with performance on our ELA and our math tests and literacy. But the 4th goal is to increase the number of students earning 5 or more credits in 9th grade from 70% in September of 2023 up to 90% in June of 2028. And so I really like that you brought that to the forefront of this presentation and specifically addressed the progress at East. And it helps to keep those goals at the forefront of everything that we do, which is to move our students forward. So thank you so much for your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Sorry, Commissioner Santiago, and then Commissioner Simmons.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to the game, the Battle of the City. I was there at the East versus Monroe game. It was great to see the students in competition, you know, and playing a good game. I was also able to present the trophy at the end. Almost got tackled while they were running for the trophy, but it was great to see the pride and the spirit and the energy there. And so, congratulations to East and Monroe for playing a good game.
Thank you.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes. Okay. No, thank you, Vice President LeBron. I wanted to acknowledge, thank you, Dr. Blocker. What is this young man's name again, the neuro?
Mackay Evans.
So we'll be hearing his name
We will.
again, Mackay. And thank you for uplifting him and spotlighting him and the work that he is doing and the character that he presents, it sounds like, on a very regular basis. It's always refreshing to hear because oftentimes we highlight students that may be struggling or not representing themselves in the best light, or they haven't arrived to a certain space in a certain point in time, and we forget about those who are there or are evolving in that way. And so it's refreshing to see, and I love that our districts, our school superintendents are doing those things, highlighting students. Thank you. I like Mackay. I want to meet him. And to Commissioner Malloy's point, thank you again. This was great to see how you tied things in to the goals or what have you in this presentation. And it had made me think about our conversations as a board as far as our diet that we may go on as our committee diet, because as we begin to relinquish some of those things, a lot of this type of information lives in different spaces under Dr. Strickland, but it's kind of segmented. So you might see a lot of this come through ESA, and then by the time we're in the board business meeting, it's been addressed, but we may forget. So going on that diet and things of that nature can allow us to see more of this, which I appreciate here as well. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Patterson?
Thanks. First of all, thank you both for, your reports this evening. The question that I have, and again, I'm just a direct individual, but you mentioned something and I missed it relative to students that aren't prepared to take their Regents exams. Could you explain that a little bit, why they aren't prepared with all the work you're doing great work that you're doing over at East?
Right. In New York State, in order to take a science regents, you have to have met the 1,200 lab minutes. And so with the issues, as we talked about earlier, of chronic absenteeism or lack of commitment to their education, the difficulty in getting kids to 1,200 minutes is quite astounding. And so we've decided we are going to go to tracking that and looking at those minutes every 2 weeks so that we could have juncture points and goals to make sure by the time we got to April and May, they already had their 1,200 minutes or beyond. As I indicated before, science is now the gatekeeper at East for graduation, meaning that if kids don't graduate, it is most likely due to a science exam that should have been passed in 9th grade and 4 years later was still not passed. So we are doing some deep dives into what is happening in our science rooms and how we can support teachers with explaining the curriculum in a way that engages kids, is meaningful to them, and understandable by them.
Okay, thank you very, very much for the clarification.
Commissioner Griffin?
Question, do you feel that the curriculum itself is to blame and a reason why the kids are not passing the science exams? I'll refer back to when I was in school as a Regent student. We had different levels of learning, and I was a Regent student. So you had Science 1, Science 2, Science 3, Science 4. And then you have, now it just seems like they have the physics, and then you have the earth science, and earth science is a very hard course. They even said sometimes it's harder than chemistry. So do you feel that the way the curriculum is a problem, and why the children are not passing, and also that it's just at the Regents level and not at a local level, and that also may affect, and along with the reading, of course, but overall, the curriculum itself?
I think the curriculum is acceptable. I think we've worked 10 years at trying to create curriculum that engages kids. New York State has moved over now from living environment to biology, so that's another shift for us. We have some kids sitting in a living environment class that didn't pass it last year, and now this year the class is biology, so we've had to have two sections really of the same thing. We find kids are passing some of our general classes like general chemistry, but we don't offer anything, I don't want to say below, but our lowest class we offer in 9th grade is living environment, and that is one of the ones you must pass to graduate. So there's really no way around it. We have to find a way to meet the needs of the kids in front of us so that they are successful on that exam. And we have fallen short the last couple of years with it, and we know it, and we're working on it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to both. All right, at this time, I am going to be bundling resolutions tonight, and I'm going to bundle them by sections so that folks can follow along, and if you have any questions, they will be bundled by the actual section that they're under. For example, up first is human capital resolutions. I will be bundling or asking for a motion to bundle 271 through 282. And there is an amendment that is needed for 673 that will happen on the floor. And so I would like the motion to reflect. I'm asking for a motion for resolutions 271 through 282 with an amendment for 673 that the superintendent will state what that amendment is now before we get the motion.
That amendment is in regards to Lunar New Year. We cannot call that a superintendent's conference day. We're just simply stating that no school for students and staff report.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Malloy, who's actually brought up this lunar year thing time and time again, so I want to uplift that and thank her and the superintendent for making that happen. Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. Any questions or comments beyond what I just said? Yes, Commissioner Malloy?
Obviously not for this year, but moving forward, another holiday that we might consider that is reflective of many of our students is Diwali.
Yeah.
And other districts have started to recognize that
we do have
in Monroe County. So
Thank
food
you.
for thought. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, Commissioner Simmons, sorry.
In alignment with Commissioner Malloy, maybe there's an assessment, I don't know when we would do it, but just at some point, taking a look at the demographics in the school district and identifying a collective set of all of the holidays, because this is awesome that it's being brought up, but it can be overlooked, and so if we have a regular practice of looking for that with intentionality, we may be able to lift those proactively. And then I wanted to just acknowledge Resolution 275 and shout out Rich Poffler, who has done a lot of great work here in the district. I had the benefit of working with him at East High School years and years ago, and he was with the Student Resource Center, and he had this great way, and I'm sure with other folks, but he would bring all of the organizations in the school together, and it was the first time I saw things working in alignment, and it was so impressive. So just shout out to Rich Poffler as he continues to progress in the district.
Awesome.
Thank you. Seeing and hearing no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next bundle of resolutions is a motion for resolutions 283 to 286, however, with amendments for 170 and 171. And at this time, I will ask the superintendent to make those amendments from the floor before the motion so that we know what we're motioning and voting on. Superintendent?
The amendment is simply, for some reason, when we submit the forms, multiple times now, the top two names are getting removed in the translation over into whatever document it moves into next. So it's just adding back the first two names on each of those so they're eligible for their pay.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion for that?
Motion.
Motioned by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Commissioner Griffin. Any questions or comments related to 283 through 286?
I do have a quick question.
Yes, Commissioner
When it comes
Santiago.
to curriculum writing, when the transition happens between the EPO and RCSD, what's the plan? What are you guys going to do with that curriculum afterhand? Is it staying in the school? Are you guys taking it? What's the plans?
We're certainly hoping that we're going to continue to use it. We've spent 10 years building it, and we have made it accessible to anyone else that is interested in using it. So I hope that curriculum work will continue to go on long after the EPO or I or anyone else is here.
Is it going to stay in the district or?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, that was my only question. Just making sure we weren't paying for curriculum that U of R was going to take after we were done. All right.
Okay, any additional comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion for resolutions 287 through 292?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Are there any questions or comments related to operations and facilities resolutions 287 through 292? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Can I get a motion for IMNT resolutions number 287 through 292 with, 287 to 292? Motioned by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by,
You already did those.
We just did those.
I'm sorry, y'all, they printed them and I'm looking at the yellow. So, I need a resolution for 293, but it also needs to be amended from the floor, so I'm gonna turn that over to the superintendent for that correction.
So for the special fund document 2023-2024, the final calculation is actually off by $1, and it should read $277,106,056.
Good catch. That is the only thing. So, can I get a motion for 293?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Commissioner Malloy.
Excuse
Any
me, Vice
questions or comments related?
As amended.
As amended, y'all. Thank you for that correction. As amended from the floor, like the superintendent just said, off by $1. Any questions or comments related to what the superintendent has stated?
I have a question.
Yes. Commissioner Patterson.
It mentions My Brother's Keeper Challenge, My Brother's Keeper FCEP, My Brother's Keeper Fellows, and quite a thorough amount of dollars that are going toward those areas. What are those? Are they different? Is it one organization? Are they three separate organizations? And if so, what do they do?
Those are the three different grants that we have. The MBK Fellows focuses on 4 current seniors who are selected to represent the Rochester City School District, along with the statewide fellows, and they're specifically trained in leadership skills. They do a lot of book studies with other fellows across the district. The MBK Challenge Grant is a grant in which we use for our middle school literacy, financial literacy program, and also for some of the funds to support our Boys Academy at School Number 9. And the Community and Families Grant is the money that, the grant that we utilize to do our parent empowerment classes. And we do those through 2 vendors. One is Ibero, who provides the Spanish-speaking families, and then the other one, we're working with Roots and Urban League of Rochester.
Thank you, and I applaud you on the financial piece with the challenge group. That's very important that our students, are educated in that area as far as finance. So thank you.
Commissioner Santiago.
Yes, I see on one of the lines it says student mental health. Just wondering, what specifically is that going towards? What programs is that going towards? I think it's around $1.1 million that's attached to it.
That's the mental health grant to support our expansion of mental health supports. That also includes some aspects of our telehealth and some of our mental health services in various of our schools that we talked about previously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Up next is resolutions to, oh, I'm sorry.
We never voted.
I know, I just caught it. I was like, we didn't take a vote. So seeing no more questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up is 294 through 297, with resolution 297 also needing to be amended tonight from the floor.
Yes,
Superintendent.
apologies for for the additional pay resolution for 297. The dates are listed as November 5th, 2024 through June 14th, 2024, and it should read 2025. And that often happens, unfortunately, but we
So
caught
moved.
it. Thank you.
Any questions or comments related to the resolutions? 294 through 297. As amended. As amended. All
I
right.
think I have a question.
You have a question or you don't? Because the floor is open, but I got to keep it moving. Do you have a question related to resolutions 294 through 297, as amended?
Let's see here.
Okay, it does not appear that
I'm trying to
you're,
get the resolution number.
but there's 294 through 297 are the resolutions that are on the floor. Do you have a question related to those resolutions?
297. So it mentions here after-school programs, am I correct? Superintendent? Yes. All right, so with the dates that I have here, and I know we have to have like a supervisor, on scene, at a school during the weekend. And I'm just looking through the dates here. Let's see.
So I just want to point out that the resolution dates were just amended by the superintendent, which is what the open resolution, the date was incorrect.
I guess my question is to make sure that we don't have a principal and a principal and a vice principal or assistant principal, at the school at the same time when we only need one form of supervision. So I know there's a lot here, so if you could cut through it and just tell me there's only one supervisor there on the weekend.
Well, it actually depends because there's going to be 200 students, and you talk about 200 students in a vulnerable culture. So the bottom line is those 26 hours expend for the entire school year. So we're still like really early in the year. However, it needs to be adjusted, same like the teachers. All these teachers won't necessarily be on at the same time. If we only have 5 kids show up, there should be 1 teacher, for instance. There should be not 4 or what have you. But my chiefs of schools are definitely monitoring those items for after school and Saturday school pay in particular.
Thank you for your response.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions related to those resolutions as amended, 294 through 297? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion for resolutions 298 through, I'm going to bundle there's 2 resolutions, and so I'm gonna bundle those. So 298 through 301. Resolutions 298 to 301.
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to 298 to 301? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get motions for resolutions 302 through 311?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. Any questions or comments related to 302 through 311? I need a motion to It says to amend 195, but it's out of order.
That resolution is an amendment as it is listed there, but we don't change and give it like a new resolution number. So that resolution is being asked to be amended. There are some changes to the agreement, I believe. The administration might need to speak to what it is.
So, administration, are you prepared to speak to that right now?
Rochester Regional Health. Sorry. It's being amended. Of course, that's the one I don't.
So it needs to be voted on for that amendment for 195?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm asking for a motion.
Motion.
To amend 195.
Second.
And Deputy Turner, I will take those. Deputy Turner is going to give the explanation for the record.
I'm sorry, before she does that, you guys didn't take a vote on the 302 through 311 that you called? You didn't include that amendment in that bundle at first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, commissioners, can I make a recommendation? I would just vote
Yes.
on that memorandum separately, especially as it doesn't have a number. So I would just, conduct a vote on what you already called through 11, and then just vote on it, name it, call it out memorandum of agreement related to Rochester Regional, and vote on that separately.
Okay.
195 is the number. When it comes back up for amendment like this, we keep it the same number. The only ones that get new numbers is when there's multiple, like HC puts multiple amendments together, so I have to give it a new number. So the number is 195 still.
For
so.
myself, just so you know, for future, I would just have preferred that amendment, because it's in the 100 categories, it could have just been called at the beginning of the meeting versus throwing in when we're already in the 300s. That's all. And they could be, and we could talk about this offline. I don't want to be here all night. I do want to listen to what council just said, which was to vote on the 302 through 311. So are there any questions related to 302 to 311, so I can close this motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now, the amendment, so now I can open the floor to vote on the amendment for 195, because he also mentioned about numbering the resolution, but the resolution is 195.
Right.
So can I get a motion for resolution 195 for an amendment that Deputy Turner will now explain and correct the record? Thank you.
Yes, so we're asking for amendment in order to be able to have a separate agreement in terms of the site at school number 17, which has a different requirement in terms of the license for that particular location.
Thank you. Any questions related to that amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Rahima, I'm going to ask for a motion to lift 260B and vote on that also separate, so that we can get that vote out the way. So,
I have a quick question. I'm so sorry. Did we just vote on an amendment, and do we need to actually vote on the resolution?
no, we just voted on the amendment. This resolution already passed, and it's
Okay.
a resolution from earlier this year, which is why it's in the 100s, which is why it threw me off when I was like, why do we have a resolution in the 100s?
All right, thank
So, nope, you're welcome. This one is 260B, but this is the resolution that has been tabled twice. So can I get a motion for resolution to lift 260B?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Griffin, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to lifting 260B off the floor? Back up. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Then can I get a motion for 260B?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to 260B?
Okay, is that under, I just want to make sure I'm right here. I can't really see. Is that, we're under 22?
It's this one.
Number 20. Yeah, I have, yeah, that one's fine. I just want to make sure I'm in my right spot here. Hold on one second, guys.
Commissioners, if you have questions on the resolutions, they should be open in front of you so we can keep
It
things
is open,
moving.
it's 22, and I just want to make sure, because I was following along there. So there's several I have a question, maybe it's for Adrian, I'm not sure, but there's several policies under here, under B, resolution 313.
Commissioner Griffin, they're not reviewing that one. They're only looking at 260B. Vice President
260B
didn't
is
bundle
the
those
only
together.
resolution we're
Okay,
looking at.
okay, I just want to make sure, okay.
Okay.
So tell me when I need to speak, because I want to make sure I address that. I didn't know.
What numbers are you referring to?
I'm looking at B, 22B, and 22C.
That's 313 and 314.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but
I just wanna make sure.
We just lifted 260 because we have
Okay.
to lift it because we tabled it twice. Now we are going to move, we have the motion on the floor for 260B, which was made by Commissioner Malloy and seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to this particular resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Now I'm going to ask for motions for resolutions 312 through 317. Moved by Commissioner, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. Any questions or comments related to 312 through 317?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Griffin, this is you.
My question is, if I do not agree with some of these policies within this resolution, how do I just say, do I oppose
Vote
all of
no.
it?
Yep, you
Okay,
can vote
all right,
no.
then I have
You
to-
you vote no, Commissioner. Yep.
Yeah, okay. It's unfortunate, but I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes, Commissioner Patterson?
Yes, 313. My understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we were supposed to have a conversation relative to liaisons to schools, something to the point of if you had a child in a school, that you were not to, we're going to discuss whether or not you should be a liaison to that school, whether or not it was a conflict of interest. So, last week we spoke relative to this.
I think that was executive session or something.
They said it was gonna be discussed.
Exactly, we said that was
So,
going to be discussed at
I'm
this
sorry,
meeting.
can I just clarify to Commissioner Patterson, because I was informed that Commissioner Patterson and there was another commissioner who brought this up to be brought up tonight. So that conversation was not part of executive session, and I just want to clarify for the record that that was a one-on-one conversation between the commissioner and the staff member, who then has alerted. And this is, the resolution right now is open on the floor. So yes, if you have questions, but I understand what you're saying, because the floor is only open for questions or comments, not for a full discussion right now on this. Right, but what I can do is, if you all want to have the discussions forward, I was gonna say, yeah, we can table the one particular one. However, yeah, for tonight, I'm gonna make the executive decision to table it with when's the next board meeting?
So you have a meeting on November 5th for CIGR. Then you have November 12th for your special meeting.
No, it has to be the next
And the
soonest meeting,
business
which
meeting is-
CGI.
oh, CIGI.
Commissioner Santiago, will you be okay with us adding just this one resolution to discuss under new items?
Yes, we can do that.
Just for
Commissioner
clarification.
Patterson, would you be okay and amendable to us tabling this one policy so it can be further discussed as a group?
Before I even respond to that, I want to point of privilege, because you made a comment that I raised that question relative to that when I didn't. It was council that brought that up.
No,
And then-
no, I'm
then-
sorry. Let me clarify that
please.
I'm clarifying that it's my understanding that you and another commissioner brought up that you wanted this discussed tonight, and that did not happen in executive session. That's all.
Yeah, it was
I-
supposed to
So
be
it's being
discussed.
tabled, right? That's the resolution.
Yes. So I just wanted to clarify that it's my understanding that you and another commissioner wanted it discussed tonight.
Correct.
Yes, that did not happen in executive session. I think there was some confusion when you brought it up, and people saying that you were breaking executive session, and so I was clarifying that that's not my understanding. So I just want to go back to which policy specifically are we talking about, so that I can ask whoever made the original motion that they take it back, so we can re-motion this, but really motion first to table that policy for further discussion at the next CIGR meeting, which is next Tuesday, November 2nd, 5th, November 5th. So who made the motion? Commissioner Malloy, can you lift the motion? Take it back.
Lifted the motion.
Thank you. So which resolution,
211.1.
It's, is it policy 211.1? That's the board member school visits?
yes,
Yep.
Adrian, can I split the resolution? Because there's other policies in there, and I don't want to hold that back. So can I split the resolution?
So Commissioner,
I think in
Yeah,
the future, they
in-
should be
in-
grouped
in-
like this, because it makes it hard. Can I, Adrian, I'm sorry, can I just say something really quickly? I don't think it's fair that we have all these resolutions from under different policies in here like that, because it doesn't give me a chance as a commissioner to address, like, if I don't like, if there's something I want to say nay to, it's grouping all of these under this one resolution, this policy, and it's not fair. So I don't think that this is fair to me as a commissioner to have to say nay to some things when I can say yes to some of them. That is not fair.
So can
You
I,
got 2,000, you got 4,000.
Commissioner Griffin,
6,000. So
Commissioner
I think that there's
Griffin.
an issue there. I think they need to be separated, and they need to be divided by
Griffin,
400
it's
and
noted.
6,000.
It's noted for the record, and I just want to point out to all commissioners and again to the listening audience, there's nothing that stops the commissioner from saying, can we split this resolution and pull out the resolution that I'm not going to vote on so that it's 313A, 313B, and that can actually happen right here tonight because that is what I'm going to be asking for. But you got to know these things, and
I asked for it, you said no, when I asked just earlier. So go ahead. Maybe you misunderstood me.
Yeah, I didn't understand what you were saying, but right now, legal, I'm asking for 211 and 211.1 to be separated, so we can do 313A, 313B, and put 211, 21111, or 2111 and 2111.1. So can I do that through asking for an amendment to split that resolution?
you absolutely can. You can make an amendment to split off 211 and 211.1 into its own resolution. And so that would be 313. You can make that 313 A, or actually, yeah, just make it 330. Yeah, 313A.
Okay, Rahima?
The policy that they're referring to is only 211.1, not the 211. So the one you want to split, you still want to pull both of them off or just the one? So the liaison policy is 211.1.
211.1, so that's the policy?
yes, it's
Okay,
just
I
the
thought that was actually the regulation with it?
No.
Okay, good to know. So it's just 211. So can I get a motion to split resolution 313 into 313 and 313A, with 313A establishing 2111.1 as the resolution, and to be tabled for the next board meeting on November 5th for discussion in the CIGR meeting under new business? That's the motion. Motion by Commissioner Griffin, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to that motion being tabled so that the board can have further discussion as a body? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Now, can I get a motion to vote on 312 through, oh my goodness, 260B?
You already voted on that. It's to 317.
Confused.
What is it?
312 to 317.
I thought we were splitting the ones that are under, are we supposed to split these?
Oh,
Excuse me.
I'm looking
Clerk,
at H, and it says 260B. Yes.
You took that vote already, though.
Yeah.
Well, why is it in
I
there?
heard a vote to lift it from the table. I did not hear a vote to actually approve the resolution to
Oh, correct.
60B8.
Correct. Well, I was about to make that motion. We're going to be voting right now, Adrian. I was going to ask for a resolution. That's what we were trying to get clarity on, 312 through 317, including 313, but not 313A. Does that make sense? Okay. 312, it's 312 through 317. We already voted on 260, so my apologies on that. Can I get a motion for resolutions?
Vice President LeBron, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I believe Commissioner Griffin is trying to ask you to split other policies apart
Thought you
from
said you were
these.
going-
So
That motion,
Though, that's what I just did earlier. You said, well, I'm gonna do that anyway. I'm gonna split, and then you went on to.
did split. We just split and we took out the motion that, we just had a whole entire conversation. I
Right.
just want the listening audience to understand as well, that we just discussed it, we just voted on and moved
Was
policy.
the one part.
20, if you had others, you can make the motion. Do you
I
have a
did-
motion?
I
You have
did-
to have
I
the
did it.
language. Let's go. You got to be ready for it.
Let's time out, because it doesn't have to go
We're,
there.
we're in the middle of a
I've
board
expressed-
business
hold on
meeting.
one second.
What resolution would you like to split?
Talk over you, and I won't
Okay.
do that. So what we're gonna do is go back, because I said that when I asked the question, and 5153, is that in it by itself, or is it in with the amendment?
that's
to-
in 314.
That's in 314. So I just have to say no to 314, or can I just say, you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm asking, because it's 5153 is in with a lot of other policies. That is what I'm asking. So it needs to be removed out. How do we do it, is what I'm asking. I need to split this up, because I don't want
What
to.
policy is 5153?
The parent
That's
managed
managed
choice.
choice. Does the board as a body have a desire to discuss it, to make other alternative decisions that they would not be making tonight?
I think for me, I don't want to vote for it, because I believe it
So
takes
then
away
you
from
have the
parents.
option to vote no. We only split resolutions, and I think there has to be a point of clarity for the listening audience. Split resolutions are because the board as a body has a vested or an interest in further discussing it, and they don't want to necessarily vote it down tonight because they want to have an opportunity to further discuss it. If no one has a desire as a body to further discuss a policy, then the only alternative board members have is to vote yes, yea, or nay. That's
Okay,
it.
my statement to,
Commissioner,
can I, I'm
respectfully
sorry.
interject? Commissioner, can I respectfully interject? When policies are being bundled, any commissioner can ask that they be split up, if they, so choose. If, in the interest of the great work that the board has been doing so expediently tonight, if Commissioner Griffin's only question or objection is as it pertains to policy 5153, then maybe 314 can be split the same way it was that just occurred with 313. So 5153 could be split off into 314A, and Commissioner Griffin would have the opportunity to have her vote recorded the way that she's requesting, and the rest could remain bundled if that works for Commissioner Griffin.
Adrian, I
just so
gave her
clear-
the option to to do that, that's one. But two, also, there does have to be consideration of the the body of
okay.
the board. Commissioner Griffin, I'm chairing this
I
meeting
know,
and I
but
have the
he's just
floor.
telling
I
you,
didn't
all we have to-
acknowledge
we could
you,
get outta here if
and
you just
I'm
listen.
presenting.
You were
So,
wrong.
Adrian, right now, I'm not getting the sense from my colleagues that this is a policy, but I'm going to let the process play out. If the board would like to further discuss it, she can make the motion. And if
Motion.
the board doesn't approve that motion,
know,
then
it
we'll just
doesn't-
keep it as is. So,
I have a
go ahead, Commissioner Griffin, go ahead, give your entire motion.
to remove 5153, 7500, and 4130. And that's from the policy, because it's grouped. That's
Okay.
all I'm asking.
All
is
right,
for
there's a
those
motion
to
on
be-
the floor. Does anybody want to second that motion?
I just need clarity. Where's 41, which policy?
4130, did I?
I don't see 4130 unless I'm
Maybe I grabbed them.
overlooking it.
Further
I don't
down?
see a 4130 on the agenda tonight.
There is no 4130, but
Okay,
Commissioner
just the
Patterson second that.
5153 and 7500.
500 is a separate
7,500
resolution
is
altogether.
It's his own policy, and
Okay,
it's
so
by
then I'm good.
itself.
So now it's just the 51 on 53. Okay? That's the only one.
So there's a motion and a second by Commissioner Patterson. All those in favor? It's a nay for me.
Nay.
Nay? Okay, it doesn't pass. So,
Wait, I'm sorry, can we just record who said nay? I just want to be clear, I got that.
Nay.
I heard.
Why are you naming me for the?
Okay, thank you.
nay.
I'm just removing it from my, okay, that doesn't make sense, but go ahead. I just want to make sure that the public knows that I disagree with that one, but not everything, but that's okay. It makes no
I
sense.
vote no.
Okay, moving on. So can I get a resolution for the remainder of the resolutions 312, 313 minus 313A, which has been tabled for further discussion at the next CIGR, 314, 315, 316, and finally 317.
316, nay.
Okay, I'm asking for a motion for 312 through 317. Can I get a motion? Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. Are there any questions or comments related to 312 through 317? Hearing none, I just want to add that the City of Rochester this week also voted on the school bus stop arm enforcement program. And so tonight we're voting for the superintendent to continue those conversations with the city and figure out how we can get rolling and implemented, but at the discretion of the superintendent. So all those in favor? Aye.
Did everyone else vote? I didn't hear everyone vote.
Did everybody vote?
Yes.
You want a roll call? Who you didn't hear?
Since said aye. I said aye. Commissioner LeBron said aye.
That's a name.
No, hold on.
For the bus?
We're voting for resolutions 312 through 317.
Okay.
So can we get a roll call on 312 through 317? Because apparently people, all right, Commissioner Griffin, give me a second. Commissioner Patterson, are you voting no on all 312 through 317?
No, I'm not voting nay at all.
Okay, so do you want to state on the record, we're doing a roll call, which ones are yay and nay for you?
Thank you. Commissioner Griffin, what number was it? What resolution was it?
It was 7,500, and it was a 5153, but that's they have that in a bundle. That's the whole problem.
Those are 314 and 317 and 316.
And 316, yeah. So those are the nays for you?
I'm just on those two, and I want to make a comment. I'm only doing that because I think she has a voice and that it should be heard. So I'm voting with her because of that reason. Thank you.
Everybody has voices, everybody can vote yay or nay. Commissioner Santiago?
Yay.
I'm a yay.
Yay.
Commissioner Simmons has rejoined, she's a yay. Commissioner Malloy is a yay. Commissioner Griffin, which ones are you a yay and nay to?
The school trip, the bus is fine for me. I just have, my only one was the 5153, which I think we.
It's 314 resolution, are you capturing that, clerk?
7,500.
And resolution 316.
And 7,500?
Resolution 7500 for the record is
Talking about the
resolution
policy. I'm looking at-
316 and 314 are the nays.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
for the listening audience. I'm calling the policy number. I apologize. It is 316.
Yep, we got that. Thank you. All those in, so that resolution by roll call, legal, has been roll called yays and nays for which policy, which resolution numbers people were voting for. Did you get that? I'm looking at legal. I'm looking at you, Adrian, to make sure you understood that we roll called those resolutions because there were people with yay and nays.
I understood.
Thank you. There is a draft budget calendar. I'm moving on to the.
Excuse me, one.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, Commissioner. Was 260B voted on? Again, I remember it being lifted from the table. Clerk
Yes.
Nguyen, do you have it actually being voted on as well after being lifted?
Yes. I lifted and then we voted on. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that catch. I've asked that the NISBA advocacy liaison
Vice
piece
President.
be tabled for President Elliott to be here, so I just want to note that, yes.
Oh, when you went to the budget calendar, there's a vote there, so I just want to make sure you're.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to go into that, but I'm looking
Thank
further down. So the budget calendar, there's no language for a vote, so I don't even know.
Yes, to adopt the 25-26 budget calendar. Oh, it didn't show up on your thing, I'm sorry, it's on board docs.
What
The
happened?
motion is to adopt the 25-26 budget calendar?
I thought we discussed it only at the finance meeting for it to be, so sorry. So can I get a motion to adopt the draft? Again, I just want to remind my colleagues and the listening audience that we are still waiting on some dates from the city, and once that's finalized, there will be some updated changes to those dates once their finance team communicates with ours. But for now, can I get a motion to approve the draft 25-26 budget calendar?
So moved.
Motion.
Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Griffin. Any questions or comments related to the draft budget calendar for the year? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
The budget book discussion, again, I just want to let everyone know that I had an additional meeting with the president and the superintendent and the state monitors to further discuss both the budget book, and we got some feedback from the focus groups last year that our clerk is pulling back up for us so that all the commissioners received that feedback. We got it last year, but trying to remember a lot of the stuff that was said last year, I want to make sure it's fresh in everyone's minds, especially around the pieces that parents were advocating around. So I say all that to say, please look out for an email with that feedback. I know that Demario sent some feedback as well that he remembered and was able to capture, but I want to send all of that to you all so that we can then further discuss. And I've also asked for some visuals, because I know for me, I'm a visual. I need to see what again, I don't want to repeat. So that's all I have tonight on that, but just understand that more of this will happen via email as well. And if there's anything via email that we're asking you to sort of send back to the clerk so that we get clarity where folks want to go with things, then please respond to her. The NISBA advocacy liaison really is at the president's discretion by our bylaws for the appointment. So if any of you are interested in being the NISBA board liaison, please reach out to the president and CC the board clerk, because she keeps tracks of those things as well. And then we can bring it back up for further discussion when President Elliott is here. I'm just not comfortable taking on her role in that way. The Commissioner's professional report, I'm going to put a pin on that real quick. A question log request is really as needed, and so there is no additional executive session tonight. When we are done tonight, please complete the board meeting survey. I will not wait until we're adjourned to do that. You guys are capable of doing that on your own here before you leave. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Malloy before we adjourn so that she can wrap up under the Commissioner's professional development report. And just as a reminder to all commissioners, this is part of the state monitors and the state's requirements when we travel that we give, we submit a little written sort of summary, but that we give an oral professional development summary to our fellow colleagues. And so with that,
Okay.
Commissioner Malloy.
Thank you so much, and I won't prolong the meeting too much. I'll try to be very quick about this, but I had the opportunity to participate in some intense professional development over the course of the past 2 years. But over the course of the past year, I was part of the Council of the Great City Schools cohort training called Implementing Student Outcomes-Based Governance. And this was the second such training in which I participated, and it culminated in a capstone project with my cohort peers. Our cohort included urban school board members from across the nation, and we just finished our cohort in Dallas, Texas, at the National Conference for the Council of the Great City Schools, which took place October 14th through 15th. My capstone project was actually what are called guardrails, and I'll just give a quick overview of that. During the goal-setting process, which our board recently completed, boards determine what they want their students to know or to be able to do. And this is largely driven by our community's vision for our students. School boards then also create parameters for the superintendent that honor that vision for our student achievement by setting what are called guardrails. And our board is soon going to undergo this guardrail creation process ourselves. Guardrails are the parameters that represent the community's values we want to see honored as we move towards reaching our board goals. And through guardrail setting, a board is letting the superintendent know what the non-negotiables are along the way. And these non-negotiables are intended to represent our community's values while staying focused on the academic achievement of our students. So guardrails are not directives. They provide superintendents a great deal of flexibility in that they ensure a superintendent can do what is needed to accomplish their goals so long as they honor the community's values and so long as they honor the law. So I just really want to thank the board for allowing me to continue a second year of this work, and I find it especially helpful as we embark on creating guardrails as part of our goal-setting process in our own board governance adoption. So thank you so much to the board for the support on that.
Thank you for that, and thank you for typing up a report, too. So with that, can I get a motion, again, just as a reminder, please do the board survey. Can I get a motion to adjourn our board business meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Griffin, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.